Hello everyone, you are welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make authentic, original Nigerian groundnut soup. This recipe is everything you need to make your next groundnut soup taste so yummy and delicious. And the interesting thing about this recipe is I did something unusual. I made my groundnut paste in a different way. I'm sure you want to see how that turned out. Stick around to the end of the video. To make a groundnut soup, you'll be needing basic ingredients. You'll be needing groundnuts, of course, oziza or rema seeds. These seeds are also known as Ashanti pepper in English. They are used to make soups like groundnut soup, ofe nsala, added to spices of banga soup and the likes. You would also be needing dried pepper, the dried grounded pepper. You can use cayenne pepper or the dried Cameroon black pepper. The next ingredient you'll be needing for this recipe is crayfish. You can use the normal crayfish or the dried prawns. Also, we'll be needing seasoning and of course salt. Next, we'll be needing bitter leaf, washed bitter leaf precisely. So these are the basic ingredients needed to make your groundnut soup. Before you start adding in ingredients like your protein of choice, you can use your cow layer, your cow skin, any kind of protein you like, dried fish, cow skin, whatever you want to infuse into the soup is up to you at this point. Before you start making your groundnut soup, firstly, you have to roast your groundnuts. Fry them till they are properly roasted. You can skip this part if you can access the already roasted groundnuts. You can get them on your supermarket shelves, on the roadside, wherever. Just ask them for a bottle of groundnuts or the groundnut that you know that's going to be enough for your soup. That works perfectly also. This next method is optional. You can choose to blend your rema straight or roast it like I do. I like roasting my oziza seeds or my rema seeds because it just gives my soup a very distinct aroma after blending. I don't know if this is a thing, but I sort of invented it myself after trying this method and using it to make egusi soup. It tasted so good. After roasting your seeds, toss it into a blender and blend it smoothly. Make sure that you blend your seeds very smoothly because you don't want to add them to your soup and you are filling seeds in the soup. It's not going to make sense. So make sure that your seeds are properly blended. Now I would say this is the unusual part of making Etsako groundnut soup. I've hardly seen anybody add in water into their groundnuts while blending. We always use the manual blender to blend our groundnuts, forming it into a paste. But this time around, I could not access a manual blender and my power blender got spoiled while I was grinding the groundnuts. So I just invented this method and said, okay, what will happen if I add in water to this groundnut and use my low power blender to blend it? And that's exactly what I did. I added water into my roasted groundnuts and blended it into a very fine, beautiful mixture. In fact, I was licking my groundnut paste before using it to cook. It was so good. Now to making the soup proper. In a clean pot, you're going to add in your meat stock. I added in my meat stock and my meat into the pot because I used hard proteins and I wanted my ingredients to get into my meat while cooking. So if you're using soft proteins like beef, fish, chicken, you can always set aside your proteins and just add in only the meat stock into the pot. Then add in your proteins later on, so that your meat is not too soggy, if you understand what I mean. Next, add in your blended oziza seeds, your blended pepper, your crayfish, then add in some water to loosen up your mixture if it's too thick. Stir your mixture and add in your palm oil. After adding in your palm oil, give the soup a very good stir. Check for seasoning, salt, and make sure that they are okay. If they're not okay, you can add in little to adjust it, or you can just hold on till you add in your groundnut paste and adjust everything at the end of the soup. Once you're satisfied with the taste of your soup, you cover it and you allow the soup to boil for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes and your soup is boiled, it's time to add in our groundnut paste. You can see how this groundnut paste is looking so smooth and silky. In fact, I don't think I'm going back to the old method. Nah. If you are wondering what the old method is, it's just using the manual blender to blend your groundnuts without adding any water. I have an old groundnut soup video on my channel. I'll just link it alongside this video so you can see how to use manual blender to blend your groundnuts and it forms a paste without adding water. Now mix your soup and allow all the ingredients marry yourself and combine evenly. After you've done that, you cover your soup and allow it to boil for about 5 minutes. Now our soup is boiled and it's time to add in our proteins. If you remember earlier when I told you that you shouldn't add in your proteins if you were using soft proteins at the beginning of the soup. So it's at this point you should add in your proteins. Peradventure, or imagine I was using just normal proteins like beef, fish or chicken, I will add it into the soup at this point. So if you are eating things like that, add it into the soup now. Don't add it at the beginning of the soup so that your proteins are not too soft. After you've done all that, give your soup a good stir. Add in some water if it's too thick to loosen up the soup. You can add in some meat stock if you have any. But if you don't have meat stock or any stock around, you can just add in water. It works perfectly fine. Now check for taste. Adjust your seasoning, your salt, your pepper to your own preference. If you taste the soup and you notice that the soup is very okay to your liking, please just leave the soup that way. Once you are okay with the taste of your soup, cover it and allow it to boil for about 5 minutes. At this point, it's time for you to add in your vegetable. For this soup, it's preferable to use bitter leaf. Some people use other leaves like pumpkin leaves, uziza leaves and the likes. But for Etsako groundnut soup, it's best to use bitter leaf. That is what we use, bitter leaf, for our groundnut soup. Do not stir your soup immediately after adding in your bitter leaves. Allow your bitter leaves melt into the soup. Let it absorb first before stirring the soup. That way you avoid making the soup turn bitter. After the bitter leaf is melted, you go ahead and stir your soup. Stir your soup thoroughly and allow it to just boil finally for about 5 minutes. Because you don't want to overcook your vegetable. Remember, bitter leaf is a vegetable. And that's it, guys. Your groundnut soup is ready. This is the best method for making groundnut soup. In fact, if you try this method, I'm sure you'll come under this post and give me a thank you. And so guys, that's the end of this wonderful video. If you like the video, you enjoyed the recipe, kindly give me a thumbs up, like the video, comment, let me know how you feel in the comment section. To my old 10 subscribers, thank you all so much for always, and to the new subscribers, thank you for stopping by. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, kindly do so, because I will be posting yummy recipes on this channel. You don't want to miss out. Bye guys, see you in my next one.